Authorities say Ukrainian police officers and broadcasts are returning to the southern city of Kherson following the withdrawal of Russian troops after more than 8 months of occupation. The chief of the National Police of Ukraine, Ihor Klimenko, said in a Facebook post on Saturday that some 200 officers were at work in the city, setting up checkpoints and documenting evidence of possible war crimes. Police teams also were working to identify and neutralize unexploded ordnance, and one sapper was injured Saturday while demining an administrative building, Klimenko said. Ukraine's communications watchdog said national TV and radio broadcasts had resumed in the city, and an advisor to Kherson's mayor said humanitarian aid and supplies had begun to arrive from the neighboring Mykolaiv region. Speaking on Ukrainian TV, the advisor, Roman Holovnya, described the situation in the city as a humanitarian catastrophe. He said the remaining residents lacked water, medicine, and food. The chairman of Khersonoblienergo, the region's pre-war power provider, said electricity was being returned to every settlement in the Kherson region immediately after the liberation and obtaining mandatory permission from the military. The Ukrainian military carried out stabilization measures near the southern city of Kherson on Saturday following the end of an 8-month occupation by Russian forces, a retreat that cast a further pall on President Vladimir Putin's designs to take over large parts of Ukraine. Residents of Kherson, the only regional capital captured by Russia's military during the ongoing invasion, awoke from a night of jubilant celebrating that broke out in the city and surrounding areas after the Kremlin announced its troops had withdrawn to the other side of the Dnieper River. In a regular social media update Saturday, the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces said the Russians were fortifying their battle lines on the river's eastern bank after abandoning the capital. About 70% of the Kherson region remains under Russian control. Ukrainian officials from President Volodymyr Zelensky on down cautioned that while special military units had reached Kherson City, a full deployment to reinforce the advance troops still was underway. On Friday, Ukraine's intelligence agency said it thought some Russian soldiers stayed behind, ditching their uniforms for civilian clothes to avoid detection. Even when the city is not yet completely cleansed of the enemy's presence, the people of Kherson themselves are already removing Russian symbols and any traces of the occupiers stay in Kherson from the streets and buildings, Zelensky said in his nightly video address late Friday. Photos circulating Saturday on social media showed Ukrainian activists removing memorial plaques put up by the occupation authorities the Kremlin installed to run the Kherson region. A telegram post on the channel of Yellow Ribbon, a self-described Ukrainian public resistance movement, showed two people in a park taking down plaques picturing what appeared to be Soviet-era military figures. Moscow's announcement that Russian forces plan to withdraw across the Dnieper River, which divides both the Kherson region and Ukraine, followed a stepped-up Ukrainian counter-offensive in the country's south. In the last 2 months, Ukraine's military claimed to have reclaimed dozens of towns and villages north of Kherson City, and the Ukrainian General Staff said that's where the stabilization activities were taking place. The Russian retreat represented a significant setback for the Kremlin some 6 weeks after Putin annexed the Kherson region and 3 other provinces in southern and eastern Ukraine in breach of international law and in the face of widespread condemnation. The Russian leader unequivocally asserted the illegally claimed areas as Russian territory. Russian state news agency TASS quoted an official in Kherson's Kremlin-appointed administration on Saturday as saying that Henichesk, a city on the Azov Sea some 200 kilometers southeast of Kherson City, would serve as the region's temporary capital after the withdrawal across the Dnieper. Ukrainian media derided the announcement,